What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Junction Podcast. We are here for episode 52. We have our guest,
Nice.
Square Pegs. How's it going?
I am doing well. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here. We were lost track of time. We were catching up, talking about some gaming conventions. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But first, what do we have?
We have got TimelessGamer.net has sponsored podcasts again.
Yay,
TimelessGamer.net exists to inform and enlighten video game enthusiasts. One of our favorite articles this week is what to expect with the upcoming Atari 2600 Plus. Get the inside scoop on the new system that can play all of those ancient, very old, crusty cartridges.
Yes!
Raymer.
I put those words in there. They did not say that. They threw a lot of love to the Atari 2600 Plus. I improvised.
I think that's definitely a good topic to talk about, though. But let's talk a little about you first, Square Peg, so anybody watching can get to know you a little bit. What is it that you do?
Okay, so for me, I have. Geez, you want it like right now or just like all time? Because there's.
Dang. You've done a lot. People would love to hear.
I have.
Yes.
I have. So my name is Jay. Not just Square Pegs. I started my video game journey back in 1984, something like that, playing Atari Super Football with my cousin Greg, who I idolized and still do. He's 5 years older than me, and he absolutely worked me, just destroyed me in this game. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever because I was controlling the guys on the screen. And then eventually moved into the NES and stuff like that. And there was a particular issue of Nintendo Power where they had a kind of behind-the-scenes view of how the creator of Mega Man designed the levels in Mega Man 2. And I was fascinated by the process, and I thought that was incredible. I'm going to work in the game industry one day. And I said that at like 9 or 10 years old. And I totally did. I worked at Electronic Arts Tiburon in Orlando, Florida for 7 years. I did a lot of stuff there. I started on a little game called The Sims Online, and if you never played it, you're better off. that was a rough game, but yeah, I worked on stuff like NCAA football, NASCAR, Thunder, Tiger Woods PGA Tour, Mirror's Edge. My personal favorite game that I worked on was called Henry Hatsworth and the Puzzling Adventure.
Yes, big fan.
It's a great game on the Nintendo DS, best DS game you've never heard of. And yeah, that turned into a career that I've been doing now for over 20 years. I do software quality assurance. And about 4 years ago, almost 4 years to the day, actually, about 2 weeks, it'll be my 4-year anniversary. I decided that I would start a YouTube channel because what other thing can a 40-year-old mediocre white guy do but start a YouTube channel? That's what I went with. And I promptly forgot about it. I did a couple of videos. I was like, okay, that's good enough. I never need to do that again. And then the world shut down because of the pandemic. And I said, well, I got nothing else to do. I might as well talk about video games on the internet for a little while. And 4 years later, here I am. It's a great hobby. It's a great thing to do, and I absolutely love doing it. And hello to Retro Wildlands and Lionheart Game 13. How's everybody doing?
Yes, we also have Thinking Inside the Box here as well. They said that they spy a Star Wars 360 in the background.
Right there. I got that. Launch day, it is the same system I bought the day it came out. Huge Star Wars fan. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a kid, and when I saw that get announced, I remember messaging my wife on Facebook, and I said, I'm going to spend way too much money on something I absolutely do not need. Yeah, and got it, and I love it, and it still works. It's kind of a miracle 360. It hasn't broken down on me yet. Knock on press board here. Yeah. That is the desk, but. Yeah, I use it pretty regularly. It's a great little system. It talks to me like R2-D2. You can't go wrong with that. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it still did that. Yep. Those are amazing and one of the most beautiful, just video game console designs ever.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I love it. Great variant. We also got a Millennial Collector in here saying Happy Sunday, y'all. Thinking Inside the Box said one of the best special editions. G Bro said great system. And talking a little about the controller. Love the noises when opening.
Oh yeah, the
People love
controller.
those.
So yeah,
100% agreed. It's such a great system.
I don't have one yet.
You don't have
It's
one
it's
yet?
it's fun to
Definitely
track
need to find
down. My friend Gary from Rock Solid Productions is not an Xbox fan by any stretch of the imagination, and seeing him get excited when he found it, I was like, yeah, that's a special system. Like, it's like you don't care for that console whatsoever, and I know how excited you are to have that one. So, yeah.
You know what's funny is I just watched his premiere on a 360 video he did for the HDMI adapter.
Yep.
That they have,
Mm.
which is really cool.
Mhm.
I've got the notes typing stuff out because my microphone turned on, so there's a whole bunch of stuff on there where it just typed it all out of me talking. But besides YouTube, where can everybody find you?
Find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. I have Square Pegs in the name somewhere. And if you find someone that looks like me, that's me. I'm the one without Sarah Jessica Parker. There was apparently a show in the 80s that she was in called Square Pegs, which I didn't know about until I had already been a channel for a year. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because
that show.
That pops up sometimes when I see your stuff. It like recommended it or something the other day, and I was like, "No, wrong recommendation. No."
Yeah, me and SJP were tight. It was a thing. So the original idea for the channel was it was going to be for me and my family to do stuff because we're kind of the odd ones out in our respective family groups. It's like all of my family are carpenters and they work with their hands and they're manly men and stuff like that. And Meredith's family's all very, very proper, and then there's us, and we're the weirdos. We're the square pegs. We don't fit into the round hole that our family is, and
nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. And that was it was something where we could kind of celebrate our weirdness. And she found out pretty quickly that she doesn't like being on camera, and I found out pretty quickly I don't like Victor being on camera. Victor's my son, just because people suck sometimes on the internet. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can take the lumps. I don't mind people telling me that I'm fat. Like, yeah, I know. I've met me. I get it. Come up with something original. We've had this conversation.
I love people.
Yeah, absolutely. But at least they're watching, and I'll take the engagement. You can hate me all you want. I'll still take your money. That's fine with me.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we always say. It's engagement, whatever.
Yep. The haters. It's okay. It builds character.
Exactly.
We
had toughened you up a little bit.
A guest a few weeks ago give us a really hard time about that. They're like, no, you gotta, and I understand their point of view, but you gotta block them right away. You don't put up with it.
I will. I don't mind wielding the ban hammer. Like I'm happy to ban people if they're malicious. Like if it's someone who's just like, look at this fat guy talking about old games. It's like, well, yeah, that's the channel. I'm the fat guy, old guy that talks about games. I got it. There was plenty of people banned when I had Victor on videos. If they said something about him, they were gone.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, because it's just like, no, you don't. You can mess with me all you want. You don't come at my kid.
Yeah.
And there's been some other stuff where it's been some more questionable comments made. Where it's like, that's not good-natured ribbing at this point. That's you're a bad person, and I don't need to have you interacting with me because I don't need that kind of energy in my life. So
I actually had to do that the first time the other day because somebody said something you just don't say about certain types of people. They said something was terrible. I was like very shocked. I was like, what? Somebody actually typed that out? I'm like, on that there is certain things say about anybody that's you just don't say. Like if it's a huge like moral dilemma for me. You don't
that makes sense.
Yeah, there's certain things like but the fat stuff. I hear that all the time. I get this comment. Or just me sometimes. That's all
I get the inappropriate female things too. My most recent one, I was wearing a shirt that had a controller on it, and the person said that they wanted to push one of the buttons on my shirt.
Ah, that's lovely.
So,
yes,
it's just you get those ones, and you're like, Well,
It's also
why
someone that
would
comments on
people-
something every day that's normally like, not terrible, but it is like, he's got those comments where it's a
There's a
little
couple like they're like, why would
questionable.
you put that out there? But then every other comment is great game, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
But then there's just one, so it's just like it's always weird where people like, where do you put the line at? Like what which ones are okay, which ones aren't. You just kind of hope that people see conversations openly and be like, oh, maybe I'll draw that back in a little,
It's that interesting thing about being a content creator is because it's that whether intentional or not, people can mistake interaction for friendship.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's that level of familiarity they think they're at, and it's like, whoa, you don't know me. You can't say stuff like that yet.
Yeah.
And I think we're all guilty of it too. Like I know I've done that in certain situations where it's just like, oh, this guy's great, we're friends, and it's like, but we're not. We don't actually know each other. We're friendly.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between being friends with a person and being friendly with a person. So sometimes it's just a reminder of, hey, that's a little inappropriate. We probably shouldn't do that. So, and most people I have found take that pretty well. And they're like, oh, I overstepped. I apologize. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like we all are, pretty decent people that if people come up to us in person, we're going to say hi, we're going to talk, pose for the pictures, we've given hugs and stuff. There's just always like, we want to be nice and things like that. I'm always willing to talk about games and stuff. So it's just, you just hope that people like eventually, learn to start respecting a little bit more. And, we're all here for the games. We all want to, learn a little bit, grow as people, feel more comfortable with certain things. And, so we just feel like we're all on the same page with certain things. So
agreed. 100% agreed.
Yeah. Because we all love games. That's why we're here.
Because games are good. We should play more games because games are fun.
Yes.
I agree. So what, if anything, are you specifically collecting right now? I know not long ago kind of changed the way that you're collecting.
Yeah, I fell into the habit that I think a lot of people do as collectors of, oh, that's on sale, I should buy it, which is a dangerous place to go, especially when you don't have a lot of room.
Yeah.
Which I don't. I don't have a ton of room.
You guys don't have room?
No. I wish. It's a case of I have my entire basement. My basement is basically my game room. Like this is the studio area over here. This side is where I film. This side is where everything behind the camera lives. That always looks like a wreck. But I try not to extend the collection out into the actual game room. Like that's where the big couch is. That's where we relax and watch movies as a family. So the collection kind of lives in here. But as far as stuff that I collect, I do collect toys. I like toys. My main obsession right now is the G.I. Joe Classified series from Hasbro, which I love.
Nice.
Awesome 6-inch figures. We were talking about the Power Ranger stuff earlier. Same kind of sculpting and design work that they did there. It's from that
Lightning
same
collection.
the Lightning collection stuff, exactly. Which I adore. But the main things I collect for, primarily the Genesis. As far as retro stuff goes, that's my favorite console of all time. I collect a lot of 3DS stuff. It's because it's my favorite handheld, and then for modern consoles, the Switch, just because it's so versatile and it goes with me everywhere. So
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, we love
like
all those.
Great solid list. You got the retros, you got the handhelds, you got the new. I mean, that's like perfect.
And there's always something wherever I go. So if there's some store I go to, because like it's not like I'm averse to collecting for other consoles either. I mean, Lord knows all of that proves that. But like I love finding NES games I don't know about. Like that's always a thrill because that's really where I got my start is playing on the NES. So finding something that I've never played before is always exciting. And I will pick something up I 100% buy based on the look of a cover.
Yeah.
Like if the cover looks cool, I'll be like, oh hell yeah, I'm buying that. That box art's fantastic.
Catfishing.
I just saw a new one today. I probably should have seen this before. I guess it's pretty popular. But Wizardry 5. Not aware of that one. There are so many NES games. I just
didn't know there was a Wizardry 5. Had no idea.
Yep. Yeah, Thomas picked that up today. I was like, never seen that. I've seen people's full sets and like you just kind of scan over real, quick and I always find new NES games. I love it. Same with PS2. Always new.
I will say that probably the coolest thing that I've had happen over the last few years. 2021, my wife and I celebrated our 20th anniversary, and we took a trip out west. And I went to see John Hancock's collection, Immortal John Hancock's, dear friend of mine. And I got to see the collection, like the complete in box, full wall of NES games.
Yep.
And that was a lot to take in. Like I was like, oh yeah, no, it's going to be a bunch of NES games, big deal. But when you take it all in and like you have to like lean back and look up to see it all, it's pretty awe-inspiring to take it all in. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I will have to, I can't really say on here, but I saw this homebrew that's very pricey for this. It's old. I guess it came out relatively 2014. They only made 10 of them. And it's an adult NES game that I've never seen before. It had $900 on it. Very interesting. I've never heard of this before. But 2014, 10 games made for it. Highly sought after. I was like, this is pretty cool. But always new stuff.
Yeah, there's always something happening.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love all the homebrews coming out for the NES. Same with Genesis. It's getting a load of homebrews.
N64. There's tons. They keep making them.
Yep. We got Xenocrisis on the GameCube recently. Like, holy
crap. They got it on every system, practically.
Xenocrisis is everywhere.
Yeah.
I owned on a couple of them. I'll never stop buying it.
I think I have it 4 times myself because they put it out on the Evercade again recently too.
Yep.
I'm like,
oh, that's one I collect for too. I love the Evercade. I think the Evercade's brilliant.
I think it's awesome. Phenomenal. Do you have the EXP?
I didn't get the EXP. I've got the original and I've got the Versus. I liked the EXP, but I didn't really see the need of spending the money on it because it's like, I've already got the handheld and it works fine for me. I don't really need to upgrade it. I might eventually, but for right now, no, I'm good with what I got.
Yeah, I don't have it either. It does look cool, but it's like a Switch to OLED sort of comparison to me. So I understand that. It does look cool. Very cool.
Very much so.
So you talked a little about, some of your first gaming experience. What, from then to now, what would you say are like the games that you enjoy the most? Like, genres and systems right now?
Sports games. I love sports games.
Oh, wow.
I'm a huge sports fan. I play a lot of sports games because they're quick hits of serotonin. It's if I've got, I'm a parent. Brandon, you're a parent. You understand. Brandy, you have a career. You understand. Sometimes you don't have a lot of time to play a game. And that's one of the reasons I love the Switch so much is because I don't have a lot of time, but I sure can take this with me, and I can play when I'm traveling. But as a parent, a lot of the time it's like, okay, we've got to go here, we got to go there, we got to do this. But I've got 15 minutes. I can play a game in MLB The Show 23. I can get that knocked out. I can play a game in NHL 24. Something like that. I play a lot of RPGs, so the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's a lot of I've got a day, no one talk to me. I can play this. I'm playing, and I really enjoy open world games, but the open world games, an open world game really has to grab me with kind of the content. Like Skyrim's incredible. But I'm also a huge fan of the Elder Scrolls. I've been playing those for years, so that was kind of a shoe in there for me. One I'm really loving right now is Hogwarts Legacy, which
play that.
It's absolutely incredible. It's a literal game changer. It's spectacular. It's what I wanted Harry Potter games to be 20 years ago when they were first coming out, and what I had a vision of in my head is what Hogwarts Legacy is. That's absolutely fantastic. I love the Assassin's Creed series. Tears of the Kingdom has been great, but I kind of put it down for about a month now just because I got other new shiny stuff to pay attention to. So,
awesome.
No, it's like it's crazy that you say like sports games because most of the time people joke about that. For like a brief second, I was waiting for like the punchline. Like,
no punchline whatsoever. No, it's my most played game of all time is NHL 95. I've
love
legitimately
that game.
put thousands of
those are
hours
real
into that
good.
game.
Yeah.
I still have my Genesis copy from when I was younger. I recently got another copy of the SNES version, complete in box.
Nice.
My buddy David and I used to run home from school in middle school and play NHL together. And like it's just one of those core memories that'll always stick with me. It's my favorite game of all time, other than Suikoden 2. That's another story. But
Nice.
like NHL 95, easily my most played game ever. So
Yeah, we were just talking about that stuff like the other day because we're like, some of those we used to play like back in the day, and then there was like this whole big time where I guess me and Brandon we kind of like switched over to like the fighting games and certain games like that. So it's just, it's
For
crazy
that
to hear
reason,
some
too,
people.
that you're saying it's easy to jump in
Yeah.
and out.
So it's just
yeah,
wild.
I'm playing Street Fighter 6 right now.
nice.
Actually, I'm in the Capcom Creator Program, and they hooked me up with a copy of that, and it's
Very
that
nice.
game's killer good. Like it's really really good. Most fun I've had with Street Fighter in years.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to get back into playing games a little bit more. Whoops.
Trying.
I get it.
Other than some of like the retros, like meaning like
Yeah.
newer stuff, because I keep buying a lot of stuff,
Mhm.
and then like I want to briefly test them so that I could talk about some of them, but then you're only playing like little bits and pieces of like older games. Like I just bought 2 heavy hitter. Don't want to spoil the video. Super Nintendo games, and I got them for like over 50% off.
That's awesome.
So like it definitely helped. But then I like wanted to play them a little bit, but then it's like, but I have Street Fighter 6 and I have the new Turtles game. Well, I don't want to open that up because that was limited run.
I was going to ask if you received yours. I forgot to ask
yeah,
you the other day.
but they put it in like a blister pack, and I haven't unboxed it, for my channel yet. And people have been asking about it, so I got to unbox it. But I don't want to rip it out of the blister pack, so now I got to buy a whole nother copy of the game to play it because they put it in the sealed blister pack, and I can't rip that open in good conscience.
Dang, I thought you used to give me a hard time not long ago because I was like, "You're opening that Resident Evil collectors?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna open it because I'm playing it or something."
Well, yeah, because I want it, and I never played it yet, but I wanted the statue out next to the other Leon. Like I wanted both my statue for 2 and 4. I wanted both Leons together, so it's like I don't know
you
if
would
other
open
people
this
have it.
collectors. I'm kind of surprised to hear this.
Well, no, I'm gonna unbox it, but it's just the game they put in like a blister pack, like
So, like the actual game inside is in the. Okay.
Yeah, what they did. Let me find an example because it's downstairs. All right, so I'll walk over and grab my.
Awesome! Look at that massive collection that she's got. At Mortal Kombat, I see it every week, and it's there and I love it. But yeah, no, I've been seeing people have received their Turtles collector's editions.
So what they did, I don't have it, but they put it in a mock of what this looks like.
Oh no!
Like they did the 64 Star Wars game.
Yeah, like they put this, and then in the blister, they put the Switch game in the blister. So like you don't want to rip this open.
That's infuriating.
That
sucks.
I don't like that.
And then
at all.
the Pizza Hut, like little coupon is in the game in this thing. So like you don't want to like rip it open.
Yeah, because you're gonna ruin the.
You can't play it. You can't play the game if you're a collector. So like, why wouldn't they put like the case in there and then maybe put like the game out so you could? I don't know.
No, that's understandable. Yeah. It's that way with my Star Wars, the Pod Racer game, as well. It's neat, but it's like, yeah, I mean, you don't want to ruin that package like that, especially when you're out for it.
Yeah,
I know Star Wars, you can buy that game cheap. It's not like expensive.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with limited run. Like I
understandable, but
frequently like the stuff that they do. Some of the things I think are absolutely ridiculous for the price they put on it, but
yeah,
a lot of the stuff they do where I'm like, that's really cool, but I'll never open it, and I can't spend the money on that. It's ridiculous. But
yeah, because I looked for like a whole year and some to play this game, and I could have went, to Walmart, Best Buy, wherever, and bought the game. If I would have known it was sealed, I could have played it a whole year ago.
Yes, they did this to me with the Scott Pilgrim. I got that, the big collector's edition they did.
Oh, I don't want to talk about the Scott Pilgrim shipment. No,
a year and a half, and like that game, you could get it. It was in stores forever during that period of time. So I ended up buying it unintentionally 3 times, and I'm like, and I still had it on the PS3, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love that game, and that is the only like big collector's edition from them I've ever just. Absolutely love that game. It's one of my favorite of all time. So that was my justification. I thought it was actually cool what they did for the collectors. I actually thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, most of that stuff, it's just like I can't. Especially with those collector's editions.
Yeah. What you were saying though, Brandy, with the not having the time to really devote to a game that you get because you have to get the footage so you can put it in the video because you can only get a few seconds. It's like the curse of content creation. It's one of those things where it's like my biggest frustration with making videos is that I don't frequently take enough time to just enjoy something I want to play. Because it's like, well, I gotta churn to the next game now. I gotta churn to the next video and get that done because it's this has nothing to do with the things I just covered. Now it's 10 different games that I need to talk about, or these 5 pickups that I need to talk about now, and I need to get footage. I need to make sure they work. And yeah, I have found myself over the last few months taking more time to play the things that I'm enjoying. Like I mentioned with Hogwarts Legacy, like usually that would be a boot it up, get footage, move on to the next one. But I don't even think I've hit record yet to get any footage of it. And I'll eventually do a video on it, but it's just been just playing the game, and it's been a really welcome change of pace.
Nice.
I'm upset with myself that I haven't done that with Tears of the Kingdom, because that was the game I said for months.
For like the longest time.
We talked about, I'm like, I want to just play this, and I have now, but before I was only playing it when I streamed. So where I stopped and what they saw, the last time I streamed, I was between, and now here soon, even if it's an hour a couple times a week, I just want to put the time in that because one, I want to finish it. There's so many other games. I mean, Armored Core just came out. That's huge for me.
Yeah, I heard good things about that from a neighbor earlier.
Yeah, that looks really good. There's just been so much that has come out. Street Fighter 6 is in that backlog, and that's a game, and I would like to dedicate a little time because I love that series. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. I regret having not just took the time to be able to do that. So a few chunks here and there throughout the week. I do want to like dedicate that time because it's games. When I got back into games, it became something that was really good for my health. It was sort of an escape and a little downtime that I don't give myself, and I just want to be able to have that. Most people,
it's important. Yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
You have to remember why you decided to make content about the games in the first place, and that's because they're fun to play. So when you lose that, you got to recapture it. So.
Yes.
I agree.
I think that's important, and I think we're all kind of on that whole like same page. It's fun when you're getting this stuff, but I always say too, like, I'm just collecting stuff so one day I can enjoy it a little bit more.
Retirement.
Sure. Yep.
Retirement one day, far, far away. It's just But other people enjoy the stuff. They enjoy the content. They say great things. So I mean, it's all a cycle, and I love every part of it, and I wouldn't change anything. So maybe there's some of the comments, but other than that,
Sure.
But we do have a couple people in the chat. I'll get caught up on some of that. The Retro Wildlands asked, "Is there a Genesis game out there that you're still looking for that you don't have yet, Jay?"
Ooh. A few, actually. I have not pulled the trigger on getting Shining Force 1 or Shining Force 2 physically yet. And somewhere over the last 10 years, I have lost my copy of Mutant League Hockey. And I'm going to be a stickler for that one because that's got to be complete in box with manual, everything, because that's what I had. I have no idea what happened to it. It could be in a box in storage, but I don't know where it is right now. So, but yeah, probably the Shining Force games and Mutant League Hockey would be the ones I'm really looking out for.
What do those go for? My game store has the Shining Force ones. What do those go for?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I am not. I am not clued in enough on the video game economy. That's I go and I'll be like, oh, I'm not comfortable spending that money, and I won't spend it, or I'll be like, hey, I've got it, I'll buy it. So
Yeah,
I'm a bad collector in that regard, I think.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, like, what's Shining Force CD going right now? That's one I want to grab out of the whole series. I think physically, that's the only one I'd grab because I can play the others on EverDrives. That one is. I'm assuming it's probably expensive.
Let's see, Shining Force CD, about $275 complete in box, judging by price charting.
Nice.
The first Shining Force is $86 complete in box, which actually isn't bad at all. And Shining Force 2 is $150, so that's actually not bad. I'll probably knock those out end of this year. So
Yeah, well, let me know. I'll see if I can
I will do
get
that.
them
Thank
to
you.
do any deals. I'm pretty sure that they have them. Yeah, Shining Force. And
I didn't know
Shining
you were
Force
after
2.
those, Brandon.
No, not me. I'm saying for him. I know that they like one of my. I think they're in that set.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, I'll see. Sometimes they do like
Thank you.
these sales where they do like 20% off or an additional something. So like, you never know. Maybe it's a good deal or something. But you know,
Very cool. Thank you very much.
I'll double check. Yeah, we'll chat later about something. But you never know. They might have them. Have to see if they're complete. But usually they have like insane inventory. Like those guys went there when they came up here, and we were at the game store, and they have like a lot of heavy titles. We did some game hunting there. They had like a blowout sale where they just went wild, and they were like, everything that hasn't sold, we're gonna like mark it over 50% off. And remember all them boxes? And then you remember that, Brandon?
The box sale? Yeah, they had tons of boxes that were really good stuff.
And then all the games were in the boxes. They were like, yeah, we're just gonna do like a box only, manuals and stuff. And then the games they were all in the boxes with the manuals, and they were over 50% or 60% off, and we were like, this is nuts.
That's awesome.
So
Paid $15 for that Neo Geo Pocket Color Pac-Man.
Wow.
Yeah. They go wild sometimes. They just get rid of some good stuff. You never know if Shining Force or something might be in that list one day. You never know.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I love that they do that. That was really cool. I want to go there again.
Yeah, and they have so much more on the back. That's wow. No, we have some more people in the chat too. Carl is saying howdy, y'all.
What's up, Carl?
Then everyone's saying hi back to Carl. The OG bros said I have Resident Evil on the NES when we were talking about different games that they were making. Mysticles is in the chat. Hey everyone. Favorite sports game, NHL 97 Saturn Blitz, NBA Jam, Super Dodgeball.
Saturn Blitz is ridiculous good. That's a good call.
Nice.
I haven't played that.
Yeah, I gotta get caught up on some of them sports games. Carl said NBA Jam, of course. NBA Jam Classic. Tournament Edition. FIFA 96, Cricket 07. He's from over.
Yeah, I was like, we must be from across the pond there if we're suggesting cricket.
Yeah, Don Bradman's Cricket. I'll take your word on that one. NHL 94, NHL 95 are some of my favorites of all time. Love sports games. And then Thinking Inside the Box said sealed needs to be sealed. And then BD Retromod said it's limited runs way of making you buy multiple copies. That is the
truth, Brian. That is the truth.
Yeah. Catching Daisies. I try to leave you good I'm thinking they said good comments. They said food comments. I mean, we do like food too.
Food is good.
Yeah.
And then they said you guys are good with all of us. Jay, would you say you enjoy hanging out, podcasting, and things for these?
I am always flattered when I'm asked to be on a podcast. I'm always incredibly nervous just because this is I'm an introvert, so this is something where it's like, oh, people are looking at me. That's uncomfortable. But it's always awesome to be on stuff like this, especially because I get to talk to my friends. So that's always nice.
Yeah,
I love
we have a good
time.
time.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we have a few more things after these comments. We'll talk some convention talk after this.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yep, Mystically, Shining Force is pretty pricey but worth it. Are you guys knowing each other before this or hanging out? Catching Daisies was asking. We know each other before this.
Yep.
And then
the gaming community on YouTube is pretty small. We all tend to gravitate towards each other, and it's a really positive community for the most part. So
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Mystically said, I've been working on getting the working design games. Most are pricey. Yes, they are.
Get a mortgage, buddy. That's not.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
All the Turbo are expensive. I mean, they're all expensive, but there's a couple cheaper PS, like PlayStation 2 era.
There's a few.
But like Saturn's expensive. I mean, they're all pretty. Yeah. And then Catching Daisy said, "Is Sega CD good?"
I like
it's a weird kind of add-on for the Genesis. Like, it's a bizarre thing more than anything, but the games are great. The music is spectacular on all of them. Like every single Sega CD game has fantastic soundtracks. But I think it's great.
Yeah, I think if you can get a good deal on like the system itself, because there's like a couple different models of it, you definitely want to try and get a good deal on it. And then there are plenty of good games. You just, like anything else, do your research, watch some videos of people playing it, talking about like the prices, because prices can be, up there on some of those games and the system itself. And Mysticles is even saying Sega CD is very good. And then
Night Trap, so of course it is.
Yeah. Sure. Deciphered is saying, would it make sense to grab some of the NES now? And I would collect a lot more Wii if there wasn't so many crap.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the second statement first, because I'm going to defend the Wii.
Yes, please.
I love the Nintendo Wii. I worked on the Nintendo Wii when it launched. I did Tiger Woods PGA Tour 09, Tiger Woods PGA Tour 10. Tiger 10 actually was the first game to ship with the Wii Motion Plus add-on. We actually had it with our game, which was really cool. I adore the Nintendo Wii. I actually think there's more good for it than people give it credit for. You just got to dig a little bit. There is a bedrock of garbage on the top. I understand that. Like, spoilers for anyone that has followed the channel. I do have another Bad Games video coming out. This is what John Hancock sent me, Sean Johnson's Gymnastics. So you're going to see my doughy ass doing a Wii Fit game.
I love it.
Yeah.
But there's so much good stuff on that system. Zack and Wiki, Batman Brave and the Bold, anything first party Nintendo is great. The Zelda games are marvelous. It is, and it's so great to collect for because so much. I'm getting excited. I'm sorry, because so much of it is so cheap.
Light gun games.
Yeah, light gun games like Mad Dog McCree on the Wii is so good.
2 Resident Evils, House of the Dead.
The Resident Evils, House of the Dead, House of the Dead Overkill. It's a magnificent system. It really is. Just don't buy everything for it. Like, don't go to a thrift store and buy 85 copies of Wii Fit, because then you're just setting yourself up for failure. But research, again, this is the same thing with any kind of collecting advice, is research. Look into the stuff you want. Make sure it's something you're interested in, and then take a flyer on some stuff that you look at and go, never played it, doesn't look like something I'd normally play, but that does look kind of cool. And is it a good time to collect for the NES? No, it's an awful time to collect for the NES, but you should totally do it because there's so many great $5 games for the NES. You're not
small, do your research.
Yeah, start small, do your research. It's such a huge library. It's such a huge library, and there's something there for everybody. Literally everybody. You're not going to be able to complete the set. It's going to take you forever to do it. It's not going to be something that's going to be easy to do, and you shouldn't want to do that. Like, it's something where
like, I want to.
No. See, your quest is different because you're so close now. I'm saying if you're starting from zero, don't because therein lies madness. That's a tough thing to do.
Wii and PS2, I don't recommend trying to go for full.
No, don't get a full Wii set. There's a video on, I want to say it's on Metal Jesus' channel. of a guy who has the complete Wii set, and I'm just like,
I
why?
remember that. Yep.
Why did you need four? Why did you?
The full set?
It's insane.
Like we talk about, just because it is a shovelware or deemed a bad game does not mean it's not fun.
That's right.
Some games can be terribly awful, but you can have a good time playing like the multiplayer. So like it's really just up to whoever's going for it, you know. If the game's cheap enough and you can get it for like $1 or less at like a thrift store or something, and it looks like maybe not the best game, if you wanted to try it, what's $1? Or, you know, you save up, get those good titles, like that we were all talking about. You know, you save up, get the good ones. And some of the ones that you don't think you'll enjoy, you know, stay away from those. You don't have to be set into collecting full sets. You know, you could kind of go at your own pace, but don't completely, you know, shut off a bunch, because there's a game on the U-Draw. It's called SpongeBob Squiggle Pants. And it plays exactly like WarioWare. It's a bunch of those mini games, those short little tiny games. And just because it's like a U-Draw game or something, it's like the cheapest game. It's like under $5 for like the U-Draw, and I recommend it to like all these people.
Yeah, we promote that game more than it's ever been promoted.
I know, trying to be sponsored by SpongeBob. Hello.
I've never actually played. I've never
Yeah.
played a U-Draw game. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll try and find more copies. I found one and I gave it to Retro Wolf. I recommended it for his video. He couldn't find it at the convention anywhere. And then like 3 conventions later, I gave it to him. So I gotta find like a massive stockpile of them, and then I'll just start handing them out to everyone. So that's, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna buy like 20 copies of it and just hand them out to everyone.
I will recommend 2 things on there, though. I think are going to go up. One is already a little pricey, but this and the Kirby collection, both are great.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that both of these are going to shoot up when the Wii prices, you know, eventually.
Any of those boxes, yeah.
Yeah. I still don't have the Kirby one because it shot up kind of ridiculously during COVID, and so I'm like, I'll hold off. But that's a cool collection. We don't have another Kirby. I recommend.
Yeah,
those.
Who doesn't love Kirby?
Yeah, exactly. Best character ever.
We do have a couple
We're
other.
Not gonna go that far, but
Yeah. Next, then we do have a couple
Kirby,
more. Couple more questions and replies. So Carl said, agreed, super fun system, talking about the Sega CD, and the music is so good. At least you want Road Avengers, Cobra Commander, Tomcat Alley for the Mega/Sega CD, then there will be no problem. They said at least if you want those, there'll be no problem. Trepid Girl Xbox said, did you see the Wii is getting a new release? Not sure.
Oh, I did not.
Is it a Just Dance? Because that seems to happen every year.
Yeah,
we got one in 2020.
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder which one, if you can drop that in there. And then Carl said, light gun games on the Wii are so good. Talk to me about those before. I did a video on my channel of like the top 10 of them, or like at least 10 that I had that were really good. So we talked about that before. It's great to play light gun games easily on modern TVs. That's what I think I like the most. Retro Wildland said, that's why I'm collecting for the Sony PSP, such an underrated library, and some of the best games are still cheap. I agree.
I agree with that. Phenomenal system.
Thinking Inside the Box was talking about Radical Reggie at some point. Maybe about collecting or something.
Oh, he's the one who has the complete Wii set. Yeah, I know what you're talking about there. Thinking Inside the Box. There was someone else. It was other than Reggie that had a full Wii collection.
Okay.
I can't remember the guy's name, but
Reggie has a full Wii set? I didn't.
Maybe. I think I don't know. I know he's got a full set of something. I can't remember what it is though.
Figure it out. Yeah, we'll figure it out at some point. The Tech Buzz Gaming said, slowly walks back into the corner as I attempt to get my complete North American NES set. But yes, he has 253 in, but he has stadium events and Little Samson. So
then you don't stop if you've got stadium events already. Like,
yeah, he blew me away. I was like stunned when he told me that. I was like, what? Those were the games. Those are the reason I said don't go for it. I kept telling him, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to regret it. But he already had those. I'm like, go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Anytime I say don't go for a full set is when someone is starting from zero on something that's a daunting task like that.
Right.
Like if you've already got a good amount and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go for the whole thing. Man, I have got your back 100% and I will look for things for you. Just don't let that be your collecting goal. Don't let that be the thing that you're hanging everything on. Experience everything. Try different systems.
Well, that's what he just said. I need
oh
direction.
my god, 53 consoles! Good god!
I mean, that's how I feel. I'm collecting for like every system at this point. It's just which ones am I filming? Which ones am I buying for? Which ones am I secretly picking up?
I kind of do too, but like, there's only two on like the full set thing, and we talked about it like heavily. They just mean a lot.
Keep adding to my list.
I don't know if I can add anything. Like, there's a few subsets, and I think that's great. I think subsets are really. I always recommend. There's like a whole company you want to get, for these consoles, like Working Designs. I don't know that I recommend that one. Unless willing
probably
to pay.
Wouldn't recommend that one.
If you're willing to pay, then okay. But like different subsets, I think those are cool little goals, and it's something to try to achieve. I think that's great.
Yeah, and we got more people saying good evening, Game Junction. How's it going? Howdy.
Hello.
We got the Tech Buzz Gaming again saying, you should see my pickups this weekend. I'm a mess. Seriously, I need an intervention. I think we all do.
Boy.
I'll be right there with you. I don't know what step 2 is. I know I have a problem, but what's the next step?
Buy more games.
Yeah, you just buy more games. That's what I keep doing. I don't know.
Just keep kicking the problem down the road. That's how it works, right? Like that's.
Yeah.
And you buy a Mario Kart statue that literally takes up your whole garage, and then you buy another thing.
That was so cool.
Yeah, it was in there today. It kept getting in the way, so I just had to figure that one out. But things just keep going on the back burner of things. Yep.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
So I know we'll talk about this on the other podcast, Brandy, because it's significant news. I'm curious, Jay. I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on the 2600?
2600 plus. So,
Isn't it? You're not. You said you're not a big 2600.
I am not an Atari fan at all.
Okay.
I am not an Atari fan at all. I did say when it launched or when they made the announcement, I said, "Oh, I might actually buy a 2600 now." And then I thought about it and I said, "No, I won't." Because I just don't care. Like I've got the Atari 50th collection on the Switch. That's all I need.
Yeah, that has some good games. Yeah,
it's got good games on it, and I like that it's it's kind of a documentary. Like it's neat to see the history of the company. I think that's really neat. And I don't take anything away from Atari. Because we wouldn't have our hobby we have today without them. But I don't like a lot of the games. And there's some I do. There's some I absolutely love. But for me, the 2600 is a really awesome footnote in the history of video games that I have no desire to collect for.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's so, weirdly enough, even though, I'm a little bit younger, that was my first system. We didn't have it for a long time, but just being poor growing up, we always had hand. But even then, the nostalgia is not there like it is for the NES for me, because, right after we got that, then I got the Turbo Graphics. It was like a weird jump. It was always hand-me-down. But even having the 2600, playing a lot of those games, the nostalgia is not quite there, but I am a fan of a lot of Atari other systems outside that. And I think it's cool, but that price tag is something I don't like. I think that's too much.
What is it?
How much is it?
120, which I think is too much. And I'm not the only one. I think it's way too much. And it's an emulation machine. It takes physical carts, but it emulates the games. It grabs the ROM like the Retron 77. Doesn't play your carts. It's grabbing the ROM from your cart. And not for the price, I think that's kind of ridiculous.
How much is the Retron 77?
Like $70.
That's like $50 or $60, right? Something like that.
It might be cheaper than it might be $50 or $60. So it's like,
so you're paying 120 for the name and the wood grain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my problem.
I'm good. I don't need that.
I'll wait and see if it goes on clearance, like the Sony PlayStation Mini, when that bought it at full retail, $80 or whatever, and then quickly it was at 40, and then it was at 20, and then they were like, "Take it, we have too many."
I got mine for 20. I loved it.
Yeah, I wish I would have grabbed.
Let me correct that. I didn't love it. I think it's a terrible system. The PlayStation Mini, really good for emulation. Yep, really good for emulation.
That's what I've heard.
I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't play it. I just like the box. I think it's a cool.
I
mean,
$20. Yeah.
I've
really played it.
120 for that Atari. God, that's
that's
more than that's more than the NES and the Super Nintendo Mini were, weren't they?
Yes. Yep. And it's still.
No.
I mean, it's emulate no games. No games. Okay, I lied. You get a 10-in-1 cart. I forgot about that. That I don't know that even then makes sense. Grab that Atari collection, like you said. There's also 5,000 other Atari collections, like
minis and consoles, and
diehards are going to grab this
every year for the longest time.
Yep.
Yeah. I was disappointed in the price. I could have, like at $80, I've been like, oh yeah, cool, okay. Like I've got a bunch of carts, but 120, like I don't know, man, much.
Yeah, Tech Buzz is saying, I'm with Jay, this 2600 plus is met at best. No one wants Atari games. I picked up 50 for 50 cents each. That said, take the 120 you're going to use for the 2600 plus and add $80 to get the PlayStation Q.
Ooh,
if you're going to waste money, at least get something useful. And
useful?
I see, that's another thing. What's your thoughts on that then? I see your reaction.
The word, that is a very strong use of the word useful for the PlayStation Q. I think that is possibly the dumbest video game release of the year. It does nothing that I'm interested in. It's a crappy LCD screen. It doesn't actually play the games natively. It's all streamed. It doesn't solve any problems. It doesn't do anything I need it to do.
There's some
and
fighting
it's $200.
Let's go in the chat. Those are some fighting words.
Oh no!
Yeah, if in chat, if you guys are passionate about the PlayStation Q or Portal, or whatever the heck it's going to be called, see, Tech Buzz gets it. Tech Buzz gets it.
That's what he said. He said, "Come on, guys, it's useful. You can pay $200 for something you can do already." So he's joking.
If you're going to spend $200 on the PlayStation Portal, my suggestion is wait until Prime Day, buy yourself like a 24-inch portable monitor. That'll be about $150. It'll look better, it'll sound better, it'll play better, and just hook it up that way. Because that's
you don't get the cut in half controller though.
Oh well.
Send me the money. I'll cut the controller in half, and then
I'll say this. Somebody brought this point up because I actually didn't think about this, and this won Electronic of the Year from IGN this year. The Edge controller is also $200, and it couldn't even be stocked in stores. It was so sold out for a long time. It is, I mean, a controller for $200, or like this thing. I'm not defending it either. I think it's silly, but you know what I mean. It $200 for a controller. I thought that was crazy. Like when those Xbox controllers first launched, I was like, oh my god, people pay that for a controller? But it sells out. They can't even keep it in stores. It's being stocked now, but love that. So it's like another controller with the screen. That's the only justification I could give. Like, they're about the same price. I don't know.
Yeah, Retro Wildlands is saying, don't forget the PlayStation Portal requires proprietary headsets from Sony to use too. Hard pass for me.
So you're going to be spending $400.
Yeah, a lot
just
of
to
money.
be able to. That's
already do what you do.
Yeah.
And then we have Escalated Friend in the chat saying, didn't realize that we were live. Yes, we do advertise this show. We posted a few times with our special guest. It could just be maybe like the notifications could be a little off, but we do it across all the systems. Not all the systems. all the systems. Yeah. Why would you buy an Atari? That seems like crazy much. Xbox Series X or PS5 guys. So I guess Escalated Friend wants to know. I'm more of like a PS5 person.
It's Series X. I haven't turned my PS5 on all year.
I don't have a Series X yet.
I honestly, the Switch. That's my answer. Like they're both fine systems. I don't play either of them. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
PS5.
We'll wait on him. Always. Oh, you did hear. Yeah.
Sorry, children.
Yeah, Mystically is saying, I don't know, I'm still not convinced to get the new gen. And then Thinking Inside the Box said, most Atari consoles are so easy to emulate prior to the Jaguar that to me there is no need to buy any gimmick re-release console. I mean, that makes sense. I feel like a lot of people are probably in that boat too.
Mm-hmm.
I guess another topic that we could jump to, conventions, because we were chatting about that, and that's why we were late to the podcast. We were having a blast. So we've all been to plenty of conventions this year so far. What's the next one that everyone's going to?
Cleveland Gaming Classic for me, and I think for you guys as well, right?
Yep, we'll be there too. So we're definitely excited for that. That's coming up in less than a month. I think that's like 3 weeks away or something.
3 weeks?
Yeah, I think 3 weeks.
22nd or 23rd or 24th or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. It should be a great show. Looks like Tom's putting on a really interesting show. That should be a lot of fun. And then, hey, Steve from Steve Craig Retro Games. Steve Craig is awesome. One of my favorite people.
How was that event? The sporting event. Yeah. Gotta catch up on that chat.
And then the week after that for me is Pittsburgh Retro Gaming Expo.
Oh, nice.
Which be my first time in Pittsburgh. I've never been there, so that should be a good time.
Wow. I heard that one's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I've heard good stuff about it too.
Yeah, definitely would love to go at some point.
And then I think we close out the year at the same shows. We've got Detroit Retro Gaming Expo.
Oh, you're going to that one too?
Oh, I didn't know you were going.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. That'll be my first time there.
Yeah, me too. I didn't get a chance to go last year because it was on the same day as Torg. And this year it is the week before. And I know, Brandy, you and I will both be at Torg. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, we're going to like a bunch, so you'll see all of us there again. I'm sure that we'll do some, collab videos and stuff coming in the future on all the channels, I'm sure. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll definitely, have to enjoy that. What's your favorite part of the conventions? What are some, not the first, like the only one, but like what are your, favorites?
The best part, like my favorite part's at a show.
Yeah.
The people. Being able to see my friends. So the first show I went to, I was very much in game hunting mode. Just like I'm there to buy, and like every convention since then has been, it's an excuse to go see my friends. It's the memories that I take away from a show now are dinner, or hanging out and just chatting at the hotel, or chatting at the show, something like that. The game hunting is great. Don't get me wrong. Like it's a blast. It's an absolute highlight of the show. But it's being able to see my friends. Like we're all so far over the country, or in some cases not even in the country. They're up in Canada or over in the UK or something like that. And this is the only opportunity I get to see folks. Like I'm 4.5 hours away from Columbus, and like I get to go down there twice a year and see people that I adore, and I get to hang out with my friends, and that's amazing. That's like the best thing. So,
that's definitely our favorite part too. Because, like you said, we all love game hunting. We all love that. I love going to different conventions because you get to see like different things. But I think what we all take away the most are definitely catching up with your friends, catching up with other YouTubers. And it's like I'm sure that you guys feel the same way. But it's like, we follow along with everyone's video. Some of us like chat, in like different little chats, different little groups on the Polo and all that. So it's just like, it doesn't feel like, there's like a break. Like meaning like I can see you in person and it doesn't feel awkward or like weird. It feels like we're just like picking up where we like left off.
Exactly.
Whether you see them every day or not. So it's just like, it's really cool to be a part of that, and you don't feel weird around these people because you're like, oh, your video last week, or hey, how's the family doing, or hey, how's the, it's just different. Like, it's pretty cool,
Yeah, like I got told by someone when I started my channel where it was like, don't expect to make friends because YouTube is cutthroat and everyone's out for themselves. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have my guard up. Yeah. And then I met John Riggs. And John is like the nicest person on the planet, like legitimately the nicest guy I've ever met. And I was sitting there, I was like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I was just like, no, this guy's just a good dude. And then, it's like through John, I met so many other people, and it's just been like literally everyone I have met because of this channel has been incredible. And are people that I'm actively interested in their lives. Like, it's not just their channel. Like, their channel is almost secondary now. Like, it's great to see the work they're doing. I love to see them be creative and put their content out there because I think we all have a story to tell and we all have something to say about this hobby that we love. But I'm significantly more interested in, like, Steve's in the chat right now. Like, I'm significantly more interested in the Atlanta United game that he went to, and if
that's what I was saying.
If he and his wife had a good time, like our friends Jen and Scott, Retro Rivals. I'm far more concerned about how they're doing with their new jobs and the way that they've redone the house and Fresh and Mary. I want to make sure Mary's okay because she has the flu. Like the channels are secondary now because these are people that are like legitimate friends and people that I value and I appreciate. It's a really awesome side effect and not something I expected whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like it's awesome getting to know people and like really getting to know them. And then like it's also like fun too in a way, like you get to see like a little bit of like behind the scenes before their videos release. So like every now and then we'll like throw in like, hey, look what I just picked up, or hey, look what I'm filming. And then you're like, oh, can't wait to see that, so it's just like it's like a pre-hype up, like get y'all excited, and it's really cool to see how people do different things. And then like Steve is saying, we had a freaking blast last night and wish you guys could have been with us, talking about like the game. So, it's just really cool catching up with everyone, seeing people stop by. We are like this big family. Oh, we have more people joining us. Hello. Howdy. Welcome to the chat. So, it's really cool to see people follow along. And then even with doing like this podcast, we have like a great following. We have some new people popping in, and it's like every single week on like Sundays, or every single when we do like the Wednesday or Thursday, like spin-off on the You Heard It Here First, or just following along with like the daily videos and things like that. Like it's really cool bringing everyone together, seeing people catching up, sharing some of their stuff, seeing their videos, and it's a great time. It's a great community. And I know people, like you said, talk about like that whole cutthroat and things, and I've only seen that like a handful of times, but it's like most of the time everyone is super nice, super friendly, very supportive, offering great tips. Like we ran into Mort at Siege, me, and then we just saw him again.
Lovely. Yeah, he's such a awesome, wonderful human being. Like I sat down and talked to him at Siege, and it was like, okay, this could I've never spoken to him personally before, so this could be awkward real fast. It was like talking to an old friend, just like someone that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. It was like just easy conversation and just he's such a great dude. Like it's he's just awesome.
I agree.
He's just awesome.
When we saw him at Game One Expo, we ran into him, and then he was able he was able to meet him for like the first time. He invited us out to, because he got invited out to like this arcade, and it was like such a cool experience. Amazing. He drove us around, like we were super appreciative, and then he gave like some like little tips on some things for like my videos, and one of the little tips, cutting out my intro, and one of them, like, now people don't drop off. So it's just like, it's like, everyone's super helpful. We all want to see each other grow. We want to help each other out. We want to have a good time.
It's a journey together. It feels like it really does feel that way too. And one of the reasons I love to do this, we can hear everybody open in a live environment, and you get to see that sort of behind the scenes, behind the video.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite things is Brandy and I are in a polo together with Steve Craig, actually, and a bunch of other folks. Like one of the things that I love about that chat is that everyone is so encouraging of ideas. Like, it's never like any idea that someone has tossed out, like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this video. It's never once been that's a really bad idea. It's always been, you should do that. Here's how I would do it. Here's an idea. It's collaboration without collaborating. It's like having just creative people that you admire and you respect and you want to be around. Being able to bounce ideas off of them is so invaluable. So invaluable.
Can you guys explain this Polo thing to me again? Because you explained it once, Brandy, but I didn't quite understand. I never downloaded.
So you stand in your house and you yell Marco, and then through the airwaves and signals, the other person says Polo.
Polo.
Oh, that's how it works. Okay, all right, I know how to do it now. So when I don't hear anything back, is that bad?
You just gotta adjust your frequencies a little bit. So that's all.
You should hear it.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a phone app, and it's a way to just do really quick video messages back and forth to folks. Like that's really all it is. It's like Snapchat for old people. I think it's
okay. Because see, that's what it felt like. Another
text
app.
Message group text message thing. Like you download the app, and then it's like text message things, but they're not text; they're videos. So like. Yeah. If all three of us were in there, I would open up the app and I would record like either me or something and show it and be like, "Hey guys, hope you guys are having a great day. I'm going into work."
Polo 97.
Nope.
No.
Nope. Not Ralph Lauren Polo.
I was like, "What's going on?"
And then like you can see the video. You can see that quick little video, and then it's like a ongoing like thread of just video messages, and you can add a bunch of people in. The quality is like not the best of like the video, but it's so that you can have anyone from anywhere just have this whole like thread, and you can.
Is it Marco Polo Video Messenger?
Yep, that's
probably.
It looks like a beach ball on the app.
Yeah, you'll have to
that's the one.
Show me later, Brandy. It sounds cool, but I'm like, oh man, another app. I'm like, I don't know.
No, but it'll play back the messages in like 2 times the speed.
Oh, okay.
But it's easy to like listen to because we all speak a little slower than what we think. So it'll just kind of get through a little bit quicker. Okay. And then the cool thing is, like if you're driving somewhere and you don't have your phone in your hands or anything, but if you're driving somewhere, like I can just like let it play and like get caught up like during those drives, and then I'll get caught up if there's a bunch that I might have missed, or like if you just have it on like in the background, and then you can pop in and be like, oh, to answer that question, da 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 da, hope all is well, I'll catch up with you guys soon, and then when you got a moment, it's like, oh, I'm filming this video, and then someone be like, oh, this game, and then it's just fun. You can like feed off of each other, catch
Snapchat,
up,
essentially, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Actually, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. It sounds cool. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
We do have a few community questions. I don't want to hold you.
Okay.
We have got Analog Kid 3 is asking. It's a stupid question. I've been playing Sonic CD recently and wondered if people prefer the Japanese soundtrack or the US soundtrack.
I don't have an answer for that question. I'm sorry. I guess it would have to be the US soundtrack. It's the only one I've heard. Yeah. So
Sonic Boom, that song from that. And so yeah. I don't know. I've heard the Japanese one, but
yeah, I don't think I have either. But I think like to add more to that, I know that like. For several other games, there's like so many Japanese exclusive games that I feel like we just don't know about. Like as I'm going for like the Japanese set of N64, since I already completed the North American and the PAL region, I just figured I'd go for it. But it's like there's why not?
She says like it's so casual. I'm just collecting all the games.
Just like 80 some games, and the most expensive one's like a couple $100. It's fine. So no, but I learned that there's so many like other games, and like when you start comparing cover art and you start comparing soundtracks and you start comparing releases only, like you get into this whole different world that you didn't even know about. So even though I don't know about that one game, I can see how people like other region variants better because some of them have added bonuses, added content, and some of them have way extra cool things on their covers.
I just started collecting for the Famicom over the last probably year and a half, maybe 2 years. Mm-hmm. And that was something I had never set out to do anything with. I just ended up buying one because my Retron 5 played Famicom carts.
Nice.
It's like, all right, I'll give it a shot. That's an addiction. Oh
Yeah.
boy, Famicom carts are an addiction because they're so cheap.
So cheap,
It's-
yeah.
Yeah, and they look cool. They got like the
They
cool
do.
colors to them,
And there's some that are like double height that look awesome, and there's chrome
Hot take,
cards.
they
It's
look
so
better
cool.
than NES cards, even though I'm so
Oh,
nostalgic
absolutely.
for those. I think they look better. Like,
and they fit easier on like certain things because
Yeah.
they're so much smaller. And some of like the boxes, even like the Super Famicom boxes, look like those VHS. Like some of them just like look cooler, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
I agree.
Ooh, Steve Craig is right. Sin and Punishment is a good Japanese N64 game.
Yeah, don't have that one yet, but that one's up there a little bit. But.
Sin and Punishment Star Successor, also a great game for the Wii. So add that to your Wii list. Whoever was asking about
You
that.
have
earlier.
that one, yeah.
Phenomenal
That's
game.
a good one.
And it's
Yeah,
not
it's a
super
real-
expensive, I don't believe. I know I grabbed mine.
It's like $30 complete.
Yeah, 25
It's not
bucks.
bad at all.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. You could probably
Perfect.
find it even cheaper. We do have a couple more
okay.
people popping in. What is Gaming Podcast said, hey guys.
Hey,
Retro Rob, hey y'all, just popping in.
hey, Retro
Um,
Rob.
Yeah.
Do you guys know
And
Rob?
then,
Oh,
yes.
Okay, Rob's awesome. Just such a wonderful guy. And I
Yeah.
loved his work in John Wick. I think he was awesome.
Yeah,
in that.
he did a great job. He just hit 16,000 followers.
16,000 followers on
Congrats
Facebook.
on
That's
that.
so cool. Great
Yeah.
work, dude.
That's very cool.
Such a positive community over on his page too. It's fantastic.
He's very supportive of people too. He likes to shout out everyone,
Yes, he
help
does.
promote everyone. So we do appreciate that. Great content, great facts, great, little shares of tidbits of information. And, look, he said, I try things. Yep. And even thinking inside the box said, Rob is awesome.
Knock it off, Rob, with your I try. Knock it off.
You succeed. You don't try, you succeed.
Are we getting a
Give
John
yourself
Wick?
more
Are we
credit.
getting a John Wick 9 anytime soon?
Yeah, let us know. How was filming?
Big congrats on that, though. That's really cool, man. He's killing it. All
No,
right.
not a problem. We appreciate it otherwise,
Yeah,
and just like everyone else, we got Mystically saying, we appreciate you. My introduction and overall experience has been so positive, and Game Junction is a big part of that. Big thanks. Steve Craig Retro Games saying, gotta support our friends. And I consider you Junction my friends. Yeah, we appreciate all the support,
definitely.
everyone.
Appreciate all of you guys so much.
Yeah, everyone's great. So yeah, we do have a couple more quick questions.
Yeah, we got Nintendo Chibi 63 is asking, would you change anything about YouTube, or should I say about making videos?
Oh boy.
Oh, that's
Yes.
a tough one. Because there's probably a lot.
What would I change? I would change my subscriber count. It's no, I would honestly, this is actually, I've kind of had been asked this question a few times this week. The main thing I would change, like the one thing, if I could wave a magic wand, that I would do is have an editor on retainer that I could afford.
Yeah.
Because editing is such a huge time sink. If I could film and just send it to them to put the story together, I would be ecstatic. It would be wonderful, but not at that point
takes
yet.
a lot of people have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone who says that doing YouTube isn't a job doesn't get it, because it's a second full-time job that you don't really get that much pay for.
Let's not count in, all the other social media stuff too that involves promoting your YouTube and having people be able to see your YouTube. Yeah. That's a rabbit hole. I think exactly what you said. I agree with that. Something like that, and then I think YouTube is not quite as supportive of work on their platform like they used to be. I think there's just a lot of like small things that probably every creator would say, this probably change this. The way the algorithm works right now, I think is pretty wild. It's so hard to gauge.
Like caught up with things too, because you see like a lot of like the big content creators just constantly getting pushed out, and then you kind of see like the little guys who like do a great job too, should be out there. And then by the time you like hit something with the algorithm, it's like changed again, and it's just like,
and nothing against those guys because we know a lot of those guys, but it's like one of those things where YouTube does that. Once you've got that certain, I don't know what it is, they just immediately get pushed out. It feels like I see all these other guys I know making great content. our video might not even hit 50 views, and they put a lot of time
Yeah.
and energy and love and so that is a little frustrating.
And what do they say? Like 90% of people never make it to 1,000, and then like
Yeah,
90-some% of those people never make it to like 10,000 or something
like
crazy like that.
98 or something. Yeah, never.
And
Yes.
yeah, and of that like 2% that do, it's just like 90-some% of that. So it's like less than 1%, never make it past a certain mark. So it's just like,
And like 60% of people are trying to, whatever study they did, that stuff was on, are trying to build up a channel. So it's a lot of people. 60% of,
It's
whatever.
It's a legitimate grind. Like it's something where, and you don't really get a day off from it, because even like I know you guys are the same way. Even on days where you're like, I'm taking a day for me.
No.
There's still that thing in the back of your head going, that would be a really cool video. I could film that. I bet that would be really cool. Let me just write this down real quick. Let me stick a Post-it on that thing I want to talk about. That's a good idea. The creative side doesn't shut off. Like that's something that I don't think people realize, is that once you turn that faucet on, it needs to stay on, because if you turn it off, then you're done. Content creation is locomotion, and you've got to keep that momentum going forward. So
if you stop,
and I don't know if
you
guys. Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever experienced this. I won't get into too much personal detail, but there was one point in time where I took maybe like a week off. There was a death in the family, something of that nature. And it was a really, really tough on my family. And I didn't post like anywhere for like a week. And like already had stuff going on. And then you come back to YouTube after like barely even like a week, and everything just plummeted. All the views were gone. Everything. It took so much like digging just to get back to like the norm from that 1 week off. And that was like, you already didn't feel great because like you had a death in the family, and then you come back to this and it's like death of YouTube, and you're like,
and that makes
no.
your heart sing too. And I just went through that with my brother, well, so it was about a week as well, and then it just seemed like everything just stopped. It felt like ground zero. Absolutely nothing. No push on the videos. Nothing at all. And I'm like, yeah, it's a horrible feeling. So you get that, and it just adds on top of it.
Yep. So I was just curious if anyone else kind of felt like that too.
Oh yeah,
and it's not just YouTube either. I mean, like if you care about pushing out on any social media or anything, Facebook is very much like YouTube right now.
Instagram, you got to be consistent, and they want like daily content, whether it's shorts, pictures, engagement, replies, messages. If you don't reply and you don't have 100% message rate or 90% message rate, that comes at you too. You don't get pushed out. It's like a whole thing. But I mean, we all love it. We're just talking like the ins and outs, so that people, if they really want to get into this, don't be discouraged.
What you love, though.
Yeah, we want more people, and if you love it, you never work a day in your life.
What they say. They say. Yeah, no, absolutely. We have one more question. We've got, can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
Listen, of course, I can. I am a huge fan of Pocahontas. I think it is a highly underrated Disney classic. Vanessa Williams killed that song when she sang it. And I have heard the wolf cry through the blue corn moon. And that's all I got to say about it.
The best question we've ever been asked. Oh, goodness. Do we have anything else, Brandy? You don't want to...
Okay.
Cover everything. I'm not sure.
What's your thoughts on Mutant League Hockey? I think you already answered that and said that was a good one.
Yeah, Mutant League Hockey's dope. It's a good game.
Even through editing videos, time consuming. It's actually my favorite, watching the project that came together. Yeah, it makes sense. More podcasts don't get past episode 2 or something like that when we were talking about all that. What is your favorite YouTube videos? Probably like the ones that we watch of our buddies.
Numa, obviously.
I watch my friends. My friends' stuff is number one, but I also watch a lot of stuff that isn't gaming related, just to kind of get my head out of the gaming space for a little while. Like I watch way too much cooking YouTube.
Yeah, but that's good. You got to eat. We love food.
Exactly.
We love food on this
Exactly.
podcast too.
And I watch a lot of camping YouTube, like just people getting out into nature because
That's
it's
a
like, oh, that's
thing?
relaxing. Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's a world
Huge thing.
outside.
There's a community
There is.
for everything. That's
Yeah,
awesome,
there
though.
really
That's
is.
cool. There's like these sides I always learn about these little,
Yep.
sub communities. I love it. It's so cool. I watch a lot of
Yeah.
music stuff. That's like in the background when I'm doing stuff, especially if it's like content stuff or stuff related.
You watch it or you listen to it?
I mostly listen, but I try to watch all the friends' videos and comment and engage, all that. But mostly like music stuff. Other than
I
Yeah.
love
A lot of
history videos
background.
too, Steve.
Yep, history too. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's so much cool stuff. I think that kind of answers. I think we're all caught up on the comments.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate having you on, man, and we appreciate watching. Great
Yes.
episode.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. I know, Brandon, you and I have been talking about this for,
Long time.
gosh, a long time. Like over a year we've been talking about doing this, just that the schedule's never lined up. I'm glad we're able to finally get this done. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then we'll see you at like the 30 conventions that we have left at the end of the year.
I'm glad
be
that you're
fun.
running to
There's, like-
Detroit, though. I'm glad I didn't know anybody going. I wasn't aware anyway, so I'm glad.
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah, I reached out to them a couple of weeks ago and I said, hey, look, I'm in Kalamazoo. Like I'm 2 hours away. Can I just get a media badge for the day? And I'll cover the
That's
show,
all.
I'll promote it, I'll do whatever you want. And they're like, oh yeah, no, we put you on the website already. I was like, okay, cool, great.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Great. I love it.
Yeah, we'll catch you there at Cleveland, at Torg.
Right around the corner. Grab
we'll
your
catch you at
tickets
all
for
days.
Cleveland.
Where can everyone find you who's watching?
You can find me on YouTube. I am at Square Pegs. I am, as I said earlier, I'm the one without Sarah Jessica Parker. I would love to have folks stop by. I talk the best in retro and modern gaming. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Threads. I am at YT Square Pegs. And then over on TikTok, I am Square Pegs Games.
Nice. Yep, we have Steve coming in saying you're awesome, Jay. Love you, brother. So we have
Love you too,
all these
Steve.
great comments coming in. We do appreciate it. We had a blast. We'll have to catch up. Marco Polo. Marco.
Hello.
See, that's how it works.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great night, and we will be back in a few days with the podcast.
Appreciate it, everybody. Have a good night.